You see, the problem for them is everybody's watching this and we all see what's going on. I'm being persecuted for a law that does not exist. They're throwing bullshit charges at me to try to discourage me, to try to make me silence myself. Not gonna happen. It's not illegal to say, look at this guy harassing my community behind me. Look at this guy causing an issue in my community. He's chimping out. Call him a hard R and say, get the fuck away from me. In fact, get out of my neighborhood. That's not illegal. You know what it is? It's frowned upon to the people who want to keep us silent long enough to where we just go extinct. They know that white people are a threat to this system that they have going today. They don't want us to rise up again. I won't give up. Keep it coming. I'm going to keep speaking my fucking mind. You see, the problem for them is
Okay, that was Dalton Etherly, aka Chud the Builder. I featured him on this channel earlier in the week, and it was a mixed bag. It was a mixed bag. People were kind of like 50-50 on how they felt about the guy. This guy, as you remember, if you don't remember, he got in trouble for essentially harassing some people, saying the N-word, and brandishing a weapon. He got into it with some kids at a grocery store, and he called him the N-word, and he pulled out a gun, and then they followed him into the store. And I guess maybe there was surveillance footage of the gun being brandished outside, and that led to another confrontation at like an AT&T store with a female worker. According to him, he was assaulted. I did see that video. It did look like she assaulted him, so I'll give him that. But somehow or another, there was a temporary protective order put on him, and I guess there was an order for him to turn in his weapons. And at some point in time, he went live on X, and there was a gun in his background, or maybe he brandished a gun on the live stream, and then the cops showed up to his house the next day. So he's going through it. Like he's going through it. He calls himself, a guy standing up for his community, and I guess the community is not in agreement with him. Okay, so that's essentially what's going on. Now, the only reason I bring this all up is because this guy is using some language that I only ever hear when I see somebody about to crash out. He says they're afraid that white people are going to stand up. They know we're a threat, right? They don't want us to rise up and all of this kind of stuff. And the reason that I bring this up is because in these online spaces, a lot of times people get radicalized and they don't know what they're fighting for. Like they are ready to fight and they're ready to crash out and they're ready to do all this crazy stuff, but there's never a why, right? Like the why is always vague. It's very, very amorphous. Like he says, oh, I'm standing up for my community, but do they want that? Did your community ask for this? Are they going to the police saying, hey, these black people are a problem? Or is it just you being radicalized online? And the reason that I bring this up is because of this next video.
Theory called white dormancy. And basically what it is, when everything's good, white people are docile, they're good, they just want to share, they want, egalitarian cultures, everybody come in, check out our stuff, we want to share. And then when things start getting bad, white people slowly undergo this like pressurized cooking, essentially. Then when it reaches a certain boiling point, they freak out and snap, and then start taking over everything until they become sufficiently exhausted. And then they settle down with the civilization and the world that they've conquered and just go dormant, like nothing ever happened. They're like, oh, it's fine now, we're good. This can be seen with the Vikings, this can be seen in the Napoleonic Wars, this can be seen with the British Empire, this can be seen with the Roman Empire, this can be seen with the 1940s Germany, this can be seen with the 100 Years' War, this can be seen with the Crusades. It just keeps happening. Every culture has, their own conquest-oriented ethics. White people just more specifically seem to do it to a very extreme extent. They're a very martial people, okay? It's something that just happens over and over and over and over and over again.
All right, so there you have it. This guy, I'm not sure what his name is, but he essentially says white dormancy is the theory in which white people tolerate a lot of stuff, and then when they stop tolerating that stuff, they rise up and they crush everybody, and it's super bloody and it's super awful. And he goes on to say that white people are a martial race. They're a martial people. Now, I've only ever heard that phrase like one other time used in online spaces, and oddly enough, it was by Nick Fuentes. And this is the whole reason why I said radicalization. I'm not going to say that Nick Fuentes is radicalizing people, but I think people listen to a lot of the stuff that he says, and their minds aren't necessarily as sagacious as his own. And what they do is they take what they can from all that he says, and then they go on a crusade of their own. And then that turns them into crash outs. They're not understanding the full robustness of his message, right? So like the guy said, martial race. That's a pseudoscience. It's a racial theory that basically positions white people as this race that are really good for war, really good for the kingdom. You know, they make the best knights, and they take the best orders, and they're best for the military and stuff like that. It's kind of insulting. It kind of relegates white people, or whatever race of people are being called the martial race. It kind of relegates them to the role of like a German shepherd. Like, they make great guard dogs and they make good service people. Now, I'm not going to argue that one way or the other. I guess however you position that in whatever context you use it in, it could be actually a very good thing. So if you guys if you're white and you see yourself as a martial race, I'm not against you. The point I'm trying to make here is this guy, he said that when white people get fed up, they just start taking over. And what Chud had to say was that white people need to rise up. People are afraid of white people rising up. And like I said in the beginning, the community is not rocking with this guy. The cops are not on his side. The cops aren't like, yeah, brother, you're doing the right thing. We need somebody like you out here. The people aren't really rocking with him. I do believe a lot of these guys are being radicalized by the stuff that they see online. And hey, I would tell you not to do that, because at the end of the day, like I said, you have to count the cost. What are you going to war for? Most of these people who are listening to Nick Fuentes and all these other people, and they're saying stuff like martial race and rise up and all this and all that, bro, you're never going to own a home. Chud the Builder himself, he said, you guys are harassing my community. It's not your community. You don't own anything in that community. Your community is not at all unified. It's not a monoculture. There's a video that I showed of him getting into a confrontation with some women at a nightclub, and he called them mud sharks, which means that they date black guys. Okay, so they're not your women.
A new poll came out today that asked Gen Z men and women to define what personal success and fulfillment looked like to them. Gen Z men who voted for Trump ranked having children as the #1 definer of personal success. Guess where women who voted for Harris ranked it? Dead fucking last. Gen Z women, even Republican Gen Z women, consider personal financial freedom and independence to be way more of a definer of personal success and fulfillment than having kids. In fact, getting married and having kids didn't even crack the top 5 for any group other than men who voted for Trump. It's a really fascinating poll. I did a whole breakdown on my YouTube channel, just had to talk about it. So if you're interested, I am so proud of us.
The economy is way out of control. You're never going to be able to afford to own a home and have kids. So when you say you're fighting for your community, and you're fighting and white people need to stand up, what are you standing up for? Who are you standing up to? And what is the end goal? What is the action item? You're going to stand up and take back what? Are you going to march to Minnesota and kick all the Somalis out? No, you're not. Those guys have been here for 30 years. The guys in Dearborn, Michigan, they've been here since the 70s. This didn't happen overnight. Your country was given away over decades. You're not standing up and taking anything back. It's like the guys on January 6th. They thought that they were doing something. They got gassed up by online talkers, Nick Fuentes and the rest, and what they do. Went and stormed the Capitol and got in trouble. I'm not going to tell you guys, especially if you're white, I'm not going to tell you to not stand up for yourself. I 100% believe that white people should stand up for themselves, and especially like when it comes to like black people, Muslims, whomever. If someone's trying to bully you, stand up to them and do so vigorously. I don't necessarily disagree with what this guy is doing. I just disagree with how he's doing it. He's going out and he's seeking a problem. It seems, as his videos would suggest, he's seeking out the problem. If the problem comes to you, stand up for yourself, do what you got to do. Punch the bully in the nose. I 100% agree. But the online spaces are radicalizing people to crash out for a future they don't have. You heard the guy talk about, the Napoleonic Wars, the Vikings, this people, that people. When white people get fed up, they just crush everything and they take everything. Okay, the people who did that back in the day, they had a future. There was promises of gold. There was promises of glory, which glory was a meaningful thing back then because it could lift your family's name. Family names meant something back then. Lineage meant something back then. They had the promise of lineage. So you got gold, you got glory, you got lineage, you have land. There's no land to be given out, right? So those people were conquering for something real. They had a real thing that they were fighting and dying for. They had real motivation. That's gone. Now, we can argue who took it away. We can argue why it's gone. We can argue, who's controlling the government and all this and all that. At the end of the day, you're not getting it back. Now, am I telling you to lay down and just take it? No. I'm saying you need to focus on yourself. You need to focus on getting your own bag up. You need to focus on getting your own money up. You're not fighting this crusade you think you're fighting. You're being gassed up to crash out, and there's going to be no parade waiting for you at the end of the day. You're not going to become the next Nick Fuentes. Who's the guy? The Gypsy Crusader or whatever. That guy, he's still fighting to be relevant. Nick is a whole multi-millionaire out here in these streets because he's been doing this since 2016. You're not going to be him. You're not going to achieve what these guys achieved. You're not going to be this white political martyr at the tip of the spear. It's not going to happen for you, right? So I'm not telling you guys to lay down and take it. If you're white and you feel you need to stand up for yourself, do so vigorously. But like I said in my first video about Dalton or Chud the Builder, count the cost before you go to war, number one. And number two, understand why you're going to war. What is the motivation? What is the end goal? And you can't simply say, I want a better community. It's not your community. It's being given away bit by bit. Look at the black community. When black people get money, what do? They go to the white community. They go to the Asian community. They leave their community because the black community can't be fixed. America as a whole is becoming a community that can't be fixed. Get your money up and look out for yourself first. Do not crash out because of an internet movement, right? This white might internet movement, this martial race internet movement. I would highly discourage it, but that's just me.